global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello guys, welcome back to Global Happenings. Today, still talking about Rivers State Appeal Court Judgement. A lot of insinuation. Most people say Martin Amaewhule is back, while others believe that his stories for the God that the interpreters did not do a good job. That's those who interpreted to those celebrating Martin Amaewhule did not do a good job. We also heard from Honorable Member representing the North South constituency in Imo State, Ikenga Ogwuche, and he took out time to explain to him that he has legal knowledge of what it actually means. He said everything that was decided in Appeal Court revolves around the jurisdiction, but that Ogwuche is still the number one boss when it comes to Rivers State House of Assembly. But then some other person has come up to talk about it, talking about the APC Caretaker Committee chairman. Yesterday he was celebrating a great deal. You see him dancing and jumping up and down celebrating, and he has this to say. The chairman of the All Progressive Congress Caretaker Committee in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, has stated that all previous matters related to the Assembly are now irrelevant with the exception of the Court of Appeal decision that maintains the status quo. He cautioned against allowing individuals without legal expertise to misinterpret the situation based on their biases. He explained that the Court of Appeal decision meant that Martin Amaewhule remained the Speaker, possessing full authority, and all actions taken by the former three-member Assembly who were under suspicion are now nullified. Let me quote him exactly. He says, "So all matters of Motoshaw, CN Wali are all dead. The only matter alive today is that of the Court of Appeal, which says that the status quo should remain, but the status quo so that we are also careful not to allow several individuals who are now masquerading as pocket lawyers to give their own interpretation based on their divide. The court said the status quo before the matter was at all instituted in any court. So what is the implementation? That Martin Amaewhule is the Speaker and that Martin has all the powers. And from all that, they said, it means that all the action taken by the so-called three members Assembly who were even on suspension before this time, the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and the Deputy Leader, three members, all the action they have gotten involved in, they are nullified. The commissioners, they screen the so-called Attorney General." That was what he had to say. In his own perspective, Martin Amaewhule is still the Speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly, which therefore nullifies everything that Jumbo and the other two lawmakers may have carried out. Don't forget that the Attorney General of the Rivers State government was being interviewed by them. They were the one that screened him and then approved him, and also commissioners, even the CTC members of the local government, talking about the Caretaker Committee chairman and their members, all of them were screened by Jumbo late House of Assembly. So he's saying that everything has been nullified. But I think at this point it's important for the Appeal Court, at least one of the judges, to come out with precision to tell Nigerians what they actually mean by their judgment. However, let me allow you also listen to one of Nigeria's very foremost lawyers, social analyst, who took out time to explain what Nigerians should expect, and had given his own point of view as it has to do with the case. Festus Ogwuche. Let's listen to him. I'm back also to consider some other reactions about the same.
The substantive issue has yet to be determined, even at the High Court by the Honorable Justice Wale. It was even the ex parte application that prompted the making of that interim order. It was the interim order that is the subject matter of appeal. The lower court has not even gone into the substantive issues. But I would say that also the Court of Appeal could not delve into those issues because it is yet to emanate as an appeal to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal only exercises appellate jurisdiction and cannot go into determining substantive issues. It was purely an appeal on the basis of an interim order made by a court, on whether the court has the jurisdiction, the competence to determine that case. So the substantive issue is yet to be touched.
That's exactly what Ikenga Ogwuche said. The main issue has not been dealt with. But let's hear what Festus still have to tell us.
But if you look at that order, you look at it and you think that maybe after that order, is there anything in the substantive action that needs to be determined by courts? Because I'm very, very sure that if you look at the prayers or the reliefs in the pleadings before the lower court, it must be the same thing as what the court had ordered. And that is why we are saying that circumspection on the part of the judiciary is very, very important. And while that is going on, I also believe that the parties cannot give their own interpretation to judicial decisions. They are there. And everybody understands that, well, this action, this decision of the Court of Appeal today has not given anybody anything. It has just defined the limits of the exercise of jurisdiction of the High Court of Rivers State with regards to the vacancy of the membership of the House of Assembly.
So with this, nobody should celebrate, but everybody should know that it only talked about the issue of jurisdiction of the Rivers State High Court. Very important to know this.
And we are also saying that, well, the National Assembly also has the powers to determine that vacancy by virtue of the Constitution. Whether it panders with the constitutional and the federal framework or not is a different matter altogether. These are constitutional matters. It's for the courts, particularly the Supreme Court, to give an interpretation that will satisfy all and sundry and maybe help us to develop our case law and jurisprudence. But by and by, there's nothing that is gained from that decision. There's nothing that is lost. The only alternative available for the parties is that to go and initiate a fresh action at the Federal High Court or go appeal the decision in the Supreme Court, where we can have better understanding of what the Court of Appeal is saying. But to the very best of my knowledge, the people jubilating, I don't know what they are holding on to, and I don't see what is there that gives them any cause of joy or anything. What is important is that the court later went, though it is in a concurring decision of the court to say the status quo be maintained. What amounts to the status quo is what we may not rightly hear state. But then that's what I consider to be an obiter dictum of the court, because having stated that the lower court has no jurisdiction, there's no other material, there's no other subject before the court for it to make that order for maintenance of status quo.
Well, all right, welcome back. You've heard what Festus Ogwuche, a social analyst and also a lawyer, had to say about the case. The two sides shouldn't celebrate yet until maybe the case is taken to a Supreme Court or retried again in the Federal High Court, as the Appeal Court had rightly stated that the State High Court does not have the jurisdiction to handle that case. But then Ikenga has a lot to say that it still means that they should return back to the status quo, which is that Jumbo is still the number one man and that the interlocutory order still stands, which is restraining Martin Amaewhule from parading himself as the number one man in terms of lawmaking in Rivers State. What's your stand on that?
I guess what we are seeing here is actually conflict of interest. Everyone seems to be interpreting it based on that which interests them the most. But let's look at it, fairly without, trying to be biased. Now, this whole issue of jurisdiction all started because Martin Amaewhule believed that he won't get a fair hearing. He moved it over to the Federal High Court, and which of course has gotten that, the State High Court, the state has no right jurisdiction to hear that case. Now, looking at what the Ikenga is saying, I tend to, marry it well, being that except there's another higher order, the last order stands. Mm-hmm. Now, from what we are hearing, the only one they dealt with is the case of jurisdiction, which means every other court order that was done that have never been countered by a higher order still stands. Yeah. Now, except of course, Amaewhule believes that he will not get any fair hearing, or he feels that the Rivers Court now will not give him what he's looking for, or they don't have the right to try him as well. He should then move all of the other cases down to the Federal High Court Abuja. Then we begin to see something more different. Other than that, I tend to agree with Ikenga. Every other stuff still stands.
All right. This guy said, Ogwuche himself has given interpretation talking about the APC-CTC chairman. But then let's hear what the next move is, because the factional speaker had already given a press conference, which we're going to bring to you a few minutes from now. But then let's see what will happen.
Global happenings today.